afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are tuning in, watching Uganda at Crossroads on this beautiful Saturday. We hope that wherever you are watching, all is going on well. Today happens to be our very first show after the Uganda elections. This is Uganda at Crossroads, and my name is Mukitale. We are broadcasting to you live from the city of Massachusetts here in the USA, and we're going to be talking about the aftermath to our recently concluded presidential elections. Were they famous or infamous? So much happened. You know, we've seen so much talk going on, and today we're going to be looking at the aftermath, and we're going to be looking at some of the questions which I'll be asking today. Let me just look quickly here. Does Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi stand any chance against Museveni in the Supreme Court of Uganda? Some of the questions. And what are Museveni's options as Uganda and Busoga have revolted against him openly? And of course, looking at President Robert Kyagulanyi's speech yesterday about the aftermath of the election. We're going to also be looking at that as well, to listen in and get an excerpt of what happened yesterday, what he said, not the entire speech, but just some part of it, and shall be building on to that question. But as always, in the studio, I have Mr. Kapalaga Baby here, who is with us, and also we have Sarah Joy. Sarah Joy and Kapalaga, please greet our viewers, and then we shall start the show today. Welcome back, Kapalaga. Are you just arriving from New York?
Not really. I actually came back yesterday, but we had demonstrations even today in New York still.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are worldwide spread kind of celebrations, but still there are demonstrations. We've had Denmark demonstrate today. We've had South Africa demonstrate today. We've had US celebrating today in New York. We demonstrated even yesterday, still in New York. We had UK demonstrate yesterday. So basically, it's a worldwide. It should have been a worldwide celebrations, but as you and me know that we were robbed of our victory, we are demonstrating instead of celebrating.
Yeah, you'll tell us later on concerning the yesterday and today, because we had, I mean, I was following online and I was really impressed to see the number of Ugandans that turned up in New York. I had a friend calling me from Canada as well, telling me they had also something going on in Canada yesterday. That was around 2, I think, in the afternoon. But Sarah Joy, greet our viewers, please, and we want to know where you've been hiding.
Have I been hiding? Good afternoon, everyone. For those who are watching us from the East Coast, West Coast, people who are watching us from all over Africa, Uganda, and all over the world. We greet you, and it's been, some of us have been trying to get back our sanity, because they, it is so abnormal and absurd when you're rigged out of an election, you won.
Yeah.
Basically, Bobi Wine is supposed to swear in May as the duly elected president. He's the president the people elected. But what is happening right now? We have someone who was elected by the military, the police, and the Electoral Commission. So it is so absurd that maybe a group of 5,000 people decided to choose or select someone on behalf of Ugandans and leave the duly elected president. So it has been it's been tough for some of us, because it's you have to look for you start to look for other ways and say, how best can we do? Are we gonna do this? Because it looks like our elections don't take out dictators.
I mean, we're going to be looking at the an excerpt of what Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi yesterday spoke about. His very first address to the country came out yesterday, and I think it was, I was watching online, and there were over 50,000, then 60,000, then 70,000 people watching live. and everyone wanted to know what is the way forward, what is now next.
And it was cut off. You want
I know,
to say
right?
That.
At some way. So
it was cut off. They just switched off the internet.
So I mean, it's a shame that he didn't have to conclude that, but I don't know if our producer is what he's going to tell us. We're going to be having a short excerpt of what he spoke about in regards to whether he is weighing the option of going to court, because we have seen in the past, really, you know, the court system in Uganda has not at any one time provided the kind of sound judgment that people looking forward to in the opposition concerning an election and all the irregularities going on that have happened with Kizza Besigye and the like. So what is going to be the way forward? It's going to be a discussion today. We're going to be talking about our producer. Are we ready with the excerpt?
Yes, I did. What happened, I must say, on the 14th of January is an insult. It is an insult to the memory of those that paid the ultimate price in the pursuit of freedom and democracy in Uganda. It is a mockery to democracy. Friends, Article number 1, Section 4 of our Constitution provides that the people of Uganda shall express their will and consent on who shall govern them and how they should be governed through regular, free and fair elections. But for Museveni and his regime, they have eliminated the words free and fair. We therefore categorically and unequivocally reject the manufactured results of Museveni and Mr. Byabakama and all the operatives. We reject those results. They were fabricated by Museveni and his operatives and read by Byabakama. That was an insult to the voice of the people of Uganda, and yes, an insult to democracy. They do not in any way represent what the people of Uganda said on the 14th of January. We have overwhelming evidence to that, and therefore we reject those elections. We reject the results. Yes, we do. We call upon the people of Uganda to reject this mockery and to refuse to acknowledge Museveni as the winner of the 14th January polls. We defeated Museveni. We defeated them. And we were supposed to be announced as winners. But as usual, Museveni bulldozed the Electoral Commission, which was clearly not in charge of the election. They took over all local media stations, and as you saw, they announced fake results, which are not anyway connected to what actually happened at the polls. Ugandans must resist this treasonous attempt to forcefully impose, for Museveni to forcefully impose himself on us as president, because he is not. Resisting tyranny is not only right, but it is a duty for all the oppressed people. It is a duty that we must carry out. So I call upon all the people of Uganda, I encourage you to all of you use non-violent and legal means and ideas at your disposal to ensure that we engage in this fight for complete freedom. We have always said that people power is our power. The stolen votes belong to the people of Uganda. The people of Uganda must rise up, rise to the occasion and free themselves and their country from that small group of gunmen that do not care about the future of Uganda. Their only intention is to plunder Uganda and oppress the people of Uganda. Unlike Museveni, who unleashed untold violence and suffering on the people of Uganda in the 1980s, we choose non-violence. Our strategies are completely non-violent. We are committed to non-violence because we despise violence. That is what makes us different from Museveni. That is why we are fighting to remove a violent tyrant. Studies have shown in the past that non-violence is even much more effective in breaking violent dictatorships. I therefore encourage all of you citizens to take a firm stand against the Museveni regime. We can finally remove it. I guarantee that to you. And finally, many Ugandans are eager to hear our position on whether or not we shall go to court to challenge the thuggery and the fraud that Museveni and his cohorts unleashed on the people of Uganda. From the 17th of January, when the coup was announced, we have received numerous calls advising us on different strategies, and we are very grateful, ladies and gentlemen. Those who have been against going to court have told us that. They've told us it's a waste of time. They have argued that the composition of our Supreme Court, as it is today, would not rule against General Museveni because he is simply the one that appointed all of them. They have made reference to the past cases filed by Dr. Kizza Besigye, filed by Honorable Mama Mbabazi in the same courts, and how the decisions were arrived at. They have argued that to go to court is to give Museveni another stamp of legitimacy. Then there are those who are advising us to go to court. Even when they are skeptical about the outcome, they think that we have an opportunity to file all this overwhelming evidence before a court of law. This they want us to do for present and future reference. They think we should exhaust all the present legal avenues, and if they have any shortfalls, which many believe they do, then they are urging us to use this opportunity to expose them. I must also add, ladies and gentlemen, that the regime has been actively trying to block us, to frustrate any attempts for us to go to court. One, they have held me captive without any charge for now 8 days. They have intimidated all our polling agents, but most crudely, they have confiscated more than 4,000 of our declaration of result forms. These forms are crucial in an election petition, and I believe that is why they chose to confiscate them. We have tasked the authorities to return these forms because they actually confessed to having taken them, but they're not responding. The leadership of the National Unity Platform is in the process of consulting stakeholders, but most importantly, consulting the common people, because that is where we get our biggest support from. And in a few days, ladies and gentlemen, we shall communicate our decision to the nation about that matter. As regards my illegal house arrest, the police and the military have failed to explain why they are surrounding my house, why they've taken over my compound. They have failed to explain that. My legal team was here with me yesterday. For the first time, they were allowed to access me, and they explained to me that they have filed a case of habeas corpus in court, and court is yet to determine that. Fellow Ugandans, I urge you to stay strong, stay confident, stay moving on. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. I can guarantee you, we are removing a dictator as a generation.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Robert Chagulanyi's address, the very first address ever to the country following the infamous, I would say, 2021 elections that happened. For the use of the word infamous, it's because of the so many that we saw, events happening and the irregularities happening that took place. I want to bring us up to speed with exactly what transpired. Let's first look at the picture of how many ministers lost this election, and then that will help us build the case that we're discussing today. We were talking before we went for the break that for the very first time we saw over 26 ministers lose, regardless of whether they lost to NUP candidates or they lost to DP or FDC, doesn't matter. The fact that you see 26 of your ministers losing, what does that send a message to the country? I mean, we have the vice president lost this election. MP, for member of parliament elections. Vice president lost this election, Edward Sekandi. The justice minister, Ephraim Kamuntu, lost the election. The labor minister, Mwesi Kutana, lost the election. The chief whip, Ruth Nakabe, right? Did she lose too? Lost the election. The ethics minister, Simon Lokodo, lost the election. Ronald Chibule for water lost the election. Rosemary Seninde, education, lost the election. Chrysostom Muyingo, education minister, lost the election. Haruna Kasolo, microfinance, lost the election. Christopher Chibazanga, agriculture, lost the election. Elioda Tumwesije lost the election from the Science and Technology, Beatrice Sanywa, Environment, Amelia Chambade, Trade and Cooperative, Nachiwala Chiyinji, Youth, Betty Kamia Lands, Judith Nabakova, ICT, Kasiri Vatwoki, Vice President, Isaac Musumba, Urban Planning, Ernest Kiza, Bunyoro, Vincent Sempija, Agriculture, Molika Mukama, Janeta Kirol, Betty Amongin, I think so many of them, right? This has really been a protest vote. What do you think it's what, because I mean this is what we're hearing, it's going to be a protest vote. Do you feel this was a protest vote?
Well, before I even tell you whether it was a protest vote or not, I want to tell you that that list is so long and it doesn't start with the vice president. It starts with the president. The whole cabinet lost to the opposition, starting with the president. And you know, victory was just robbed. That is why we see Justice Byabakama declaring another winner. Apart from that, I want to tell you that President Museveni does not mean good for the country. The way he chooses who to be the minister of what is so telling. I will, for example, tell you that there is this doctor, I'm forgetting the name. He's a doctor he's the minister for housing, but he's a doctor. And then you will find Honorable Nabanja, the minister for health. So you will find people like Dr. Chrysostom Moyengo is a junior minister. Yet he should be a full minister. So President Museveni has not at any one time meant good for the country, not at least for the last 10 years or 15. The way he chooses his ministers is, first of all, to appease a certain population. When he thinks probably I might go and want to get votes from this certain place, I give them a minister. Not necessarily giving powers to those people. If you ask, there are some of those ministers who actually don't know what to do. I'll give you an example. Minister Nabakova just signed up for a Twitter account the day she was appointed an ICT minister. And do you want to mean she was the most qualifying person in that position? No. But because President Museveni thinks more of how best he can be president of Uganda than how Uganda can go forward.
What is the way forward now?
The way forward is Uganda to regain its victory that was robbed from it.
How?
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 Mwami Mukitale. Just yesterday we went to New York to show the world that there is a president-elect who is incarcerated in his home, which is not even a designated prison. Just today, I've told you, in Denmark, they are doing the same. In Canada,
they did
in UK,
yesterday.
In Uganda.
I mean, my challenge about this whole system is that it's going to take us back to the courts of law in Uganda. I mean, that's going to be the justifiable, the available avenue that we have now is to go to the courts of law. My worry is looking at the history of how presidential, petitions have been going on. Even with all enough incriminating evidence, there has never been an outstanding ruling that has been done by the courts in Uganda to overrule or overturn an election. So, in as much as in the USA people have the right to protest, my worry is in Uganda is, I mean, look at this picture. Robert Kyagulanyi, for 9 days now, 9 days, he is under house arrest. No explanation, no reason. Nothing is being told of when exactly you're going to be going out. I don't foresee him being allowed to go out at any one time. Because the government knows the implications of, for example, Bobi Wine being in the city center. They know the implications of him being in Chiseka market. They know the implication of him even just getting out of Magere and going to a nearby town. Like people's hearts are still fresh. So,
do you know why? Because they know he won the election. And they know once he gets out, people will be very excited. But even without having Kyagulanyi getting outside, people know the truth. People, I understand you've seen President Museveni, paying crowds to welcome him to Kampala. This time around, COVID is sleeping. And you must know that many people have actually been shot. Many people have been tear gassed in the demise of COVID-19. You can't congregate. But you've seen crowds being paid and brought to the roadside. I hear for the president to have a triumphant entry into the city. To Kampala. But now that the president is the winner and he's so much loved, when you see those clips, you would think he's, oh my God, this is 1986. Now that we know that President Museveni is so much loved, let the loser, Kyagulanyi, get out
of the house.
Yes, because he's a loser, people don't like him. That is why they didn't vote for him. So let that loser get his freedom back. That is all we are asking.
Sarah Joy,
yes.
What is your take on, first of all, we look at the list of ministers that lost. Yes, we know this was the protest vote. What is your take on the fact that you can lose ministers, but then for you win the presidency? Is that possible?
That's completely impossible, because there is no way President Museveni would have lost all those ministers. This is not cabinet ministers, key cabinet ministers, and yet they were voted on the same ballot. It does not make sense.
26 ministers.
Yes, and they were on the same ballot. So you don't want to tell me that Honorable Kyagulanyi managed to reshuffle your cabinet, and you're left in power. He was reshuffled as well. But just like I said earlier, it is so absurd that our institutions are so powerless, and I think also we gave the Constitution, or we didn't pay much attention to when Museveni was grabbing the Constitution to usurp himself so much power, to change everything or to decide everything in the country. There is no reason why the Electoral Commission should be decided. We should have gone the Kenya way. The Kenya way, it's not the president who chooses the Electoral Commission. They're not working for him.
There is a board that...
So, and look at also, I'll give you an example, look at USA. USA, the people in charge of the election are completely different from the sitting government. In fact, you had President Trump complaining and whining as if he wasn't the incumbent, or they've rigged my vote, because he completely has no power. And even when he went to court, the other people were able to produce and say, we didn't rig your vote, you just want to keep the narrative that, because maybe you wanted to stay more in power. So those are institutions that are built and strong enough to defend themselves. Even when you see a dictator rising, I keep telling people, in fact, I told him I've been following so much also the politics of America, because I was so much triggered with the fact that, having lived in a country where there is a dictator for 35 years, I was seeing one being born and rising in America, and people are watching him. I'm like, you are not serious. You are raising, this is a dictator. If you don't kick him out now, you are going to go, you're going to be, in a few years, you're going to be like any of those African countries you preach to democracy. But thank God, their system was so strong that they managed to uproot him. But going back to Uganda, President Museveni lost the election squarely. And I saw Bobi Wine talking of, some people have advised him not to go to court and not to go to court. But I think we know the courts of Uganda still, the judiciary has been taken over by President Museveni. And we don't expect any justice to come from there. But what we are going to bring to the world stage, I think I would concur with the fact that let Bobi Wine go to court. Not because we are going to see them saying, oh, no, there should be a rerun. Because you see what happens in the Supreme Court before judgment is done, they are called to State House and given envelopes, and they come back and decide. But this is going to go, just like he said that we need all this, we need the world to see how much rigging took place. And the only way you can expose that is when you go to court. I'll just give you an example. You remember the Chibalama case? The Chibalama case, if you just had words from the street, you would think he had a case, or you would think there was any substance in it. When it went to court, so much came out. To an extent, the guy was crying for his own protection. No one right now knows where Chibalama is at this point in time. So what this, as much as we know very much that the judiciary, being the fact that it's controlled by President Museveni, is not going to give us the victory we need. But we need all this evidence. At least let the world see. Let the Ugandans have a chance to see what was robbed from them. Let the international community see what Uganda is dealing with. All this evidence, I know definitely they're not going to deny cameras to be in the Supreme Court, because what are you hiding?
I mean, my worry, Bobi Wine says they confiscated over 4,000 declaration forms.
But there are so many declarations.
And they're going to, of course, obviously they're going to have to do other ones.
I will tell you, there are so many declaration forms that are available. Because also,
no, but
the EC,
the one he has, the one that Noop had, obviously there is a reason why they were confiscated.
Yes, definitely, yes, but it's not that all of them were confiscated. There are declarations, there are forms they have. And on top of that, you know, when you go to court, we are going to bring out the fact that EC, and let me pray, when they are going to court, they should also sue. EC should be able to tell us what were the number of votes of the 1,200 polling stations they didn't count. EC should be able to give us exactly what were votes per district and break it down up to the polling center, of which EC would have done that when they were counting of the vote, when they were releasing, you know, the tally information, you know, the voting, releasing this information. It never, you know, you cannot go into a race and you don't tell people that this is what you've gotten here, there, and then you give them an awesome number that they cannot add up. So EC should be able to break down to us what happened. When you go, I know there was a hacker who went into the EC website. If you saw the information, on the website of EC, the number of polling stations in Uganda are so different from what they're announcing to us publicly. There was a contradiction. So we need to know from EC, from Bukenya himself, what happened. We have an excess of about 500 polling stations. We want to know, where are they? Why are they indicated properly on the website? When were they added? We need to know. Are they the new districts that were, you know? So we need to know. There is a lot of things EC needs to answer, because even up to now, they've talked up, they're going to upload, they're going to show the public how the voting went and how it was, you know. They're going to show all the results. But I think they're still figuring with the figures because they don't add up. I was watching UBC and NBC and NTV reporting. It is so funny that somewhere in the UBC, because you expect UBC, this is the national television. This is a television that belongs to the government. At some point, I saw Katumba. There's somewhere where he got maybe his total was rounding up to about maybe 40,000 votes, and he had a percentage of 0.45. And then you have Nancy, who has about 30,000 votes, and his percentage is 0.55. So these percentages, the more you had, the more votes, the less percentage. So we need to know who was, and that's what happens when you rig, because you start figuring with figures to fit in, and you don't have the right figures. But going forward, the court is only going to allow all this evidence, because right now, if we choose not to go to court, the Ugandans may not understand the multitude of the rigging that took place. I was watching one of the video clips of, and these people they took a video of all the ballot papers that were ticked by Chagulanyi declaration form that were left in one building. Basically, the woman said, where we voted from, everything was left there. We have ballot papers in the communities so long as they have the name Chagulanyi. And the EC the other day came out to say there are some of those videos that are circulating on social media of the, you know, people pre-taking votes that don't belong to Uganda. they were not here, or they must have come from another country. But I don't know any other country in Africa where people speak Luganda and Unyankole.
Let me just tell the people the number if they want to call in as we go on forward. Just 1 second. So today, if you want to call in, whether you're in America or outside America, just give us your views and opinions on what you think about the election and what should be the way forward. The number is +1 978 221 4718. That's +1 978 221 4718 if you want to call in and give us your views and opinions, and you just have a minute to talk about that because we're going to be talking more about this. So +1 978 221 4718. You were still talking, and I also want to ask you a question in regards to the way forward. You're talking about the court and the judiciary system. With all this increment, enough evidence. I mean, we all know there's going to be enough evidence to show that there was, so much rigging and, whatever could have happened. If the court still does not give the, the ruling we expect it to give, what's the other avenue?
Let me speak a little bit. The court definitely, for the presidential election, is not going to give us the ruling we need. But we are going to get some rulings on members of parliament. We are going to get some of those because definitely NUP is supposed to have more than 100 MPs in that parliament. If you saw the video clip that came from Kayunga, where Nantaba was declared a winner, with the military on gunpoint and the other candidates. And then the returning officer claims, I called them and they didn't come up. And then you see the video shows how everything and how everything transpired and went down. We need to have a rerun in Kayunga. And there's so many other areas. We were just lucky in what happened in Mukono. The returning officer refused. He was also put on gunpoint by Chibule to read the results Chibule wanted. The guy just, we were just lucky that, he was one of the tired Ugandans and said, no, I'm not going to do it. But we would have...
I think we have a caller there. Hello. 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 All right, you're still talking.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
But so definitely there are the number of MP positions that are going to go to court, and they are going to be successful with the rerun. So we are going to expect some reruns are going to happen, especially in the areas where we are rigged out of, out of the win that was obvious. I've heard also Nyanzi is going to court and he rejects what happened with Kampala MP, and I guess they're the rest. Those, surprisingly, we are going to get a win. But for the presidential candidate, what is going to happen is we are just going there to expose what happened. Ugandans and the world need to see how much rigging went down. We have all the videos where the army were voting, all the videos where the army was chasing back people, telling them, we voted for you already. All that is going to come out. So we need, this is more of, going to court is more of the exposure of how much rigging went into this election. But we don't expect the judiciary run by President Museveni, a judiciary that he calls to State House a day before the ruling, to give us a win. Definitely not. On the other hand, the other way forward to this is Ugandans have to rise up.
To protest?
I think someone is on the line.
Hello. Hello. Do we have a caller? Yes, tell us your names and where you're calling from, please.
I'm calling from Nairobi.
Yes. Speak to us. What's your view?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
But on live, when I saw on the live on Facebook Live, it seems you are behind, or I'm behind you guys.
Yeah, but we can hear you. Yes, tell us your view.
He wants to listen to himself from Facebook.
Ah, okay.
He does.
All right. Sorry, we can't. We have many callers coming in, and we have a minute for each. When you call, just tell us your name and where you're calling from and your view. Hello. Oh, we lost that one. Okay.
Hello. Sorry. I am calling from Nairobi.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Tell us your view.
Thank you very much for the program, guys. I am here in Nairobi, but what I would like to suggest it's a concern. I feel so sorry for the principal because he's still in house arrest, under house arrest. But you know, we have betrayed, or not for us. Okay, for us people who are not in Uganda, we have tried. But these elected MPs, the Namboze, say Gilinya, okay, they have tried, but I think they have betrayed Bobi Wine where he needed them most. Mazimadala, Namboze, Sewanyana, this guy from Kawempe, bwebakira kumacha nebagamba we are marching to Magere, I can tell you the following day Bobi Wine will be free. But we are forgetting that we are dealing with a dictator. You understand? Dictatorship doesn't work like a dictatorship systems doesn't work like democratic systems. You understand? In USA, but that thing won't happen in Uganda. Uganda actions, government ewulira actions, nebwe tuwogera emirundi 18 emirundi kakadde ng'abantu tebakoze serious nga tebafudde mukola actions, government ekyagenda kukola kyokabulya mazima.
Alright.
So nze ngamba abantu abasinze okutuviirako obuzibu bano ba MP balectinze local they are okay now balina sente zaabwe basenyonyi, they are just busy rogering on every radio station just talking. I can tell you guys, talking alone will not solve Uganda's problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Before you take on another caller, I want to address this and
Yes.
I want to address this and I want it to go to every Ugandan. Stop, Ugandans, stop looking at Namboze. Namboze already has a broken back. She has metals in her back. Namboze cannot do much. Stop looking at the people you've elected. This is going to take every Ugandan. Because if you're looking at Senyonyi, if you're looking at Segirinya, if you're looking at Namboze, if you're looking at the NUP MPs, they are only 64. What are you doing? Now, Ugandans, you're looking, because you voted Namboze, if you voted Segirinya, so you want Segirinya, those are enough.
They want them to lead the revolution.
The revolution is going to take every Ugandan. And the moment Ugandans, drop the cowardice and stop thinking that this is supposed to be done. I've seen people asking me on social media, Kyagulanyi, what is the next plan? Kyagulanyi was living in comfort before this politics. Look at all the other countries where uprisings have happened. Who have started the uprisings?
The people themselves.
It is not even the leaders.
All right, let's take one more caller. Let's take one more caller in here from... Hello? Hello? Do you have someone on the line? All right, I think we lost that one. Mr. Kapalaga.
I will not mention my name.
Oh, okay.
I will not mention my name.
All right, we have 1 minute.
First of all, my point is that person who is saying that the MPs are only 60. Leadership doesn't require that numbers must be more than 60.
Okay. Hello. Oh, we can't hear
I
you.
think he has gone off. But before
Oh, yeah.
Kapalaga comes in...
We can't hear you, sorry. Maybe
But
call again.
Kapalaga, before Kapalaga comes on, the point I want to make, let's stop looking at the few numbers that will not cause an impact. This, if Uganda wants to get rid of Museveni, it is going to get it's going to take every Ugandan. It is, let's not sit back and think that this is for, because I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Ugandans were in New York. Was any of the elected leaders there? No. Was Bobi Wine there? No. Ugandans all over the world are standing up. None of the elected leaders are there because everyone is doing their part. So before you call on Namboze, what have you done? So if Ugandans still have the mentality of thinking they're going to sit back and wait for what Namboze is going to do, what Segrinya is going to do, what have you done? So this is going to take every Ugandan. None of the uprisings that have happened have been started by those in leadership. So if those in leadership are doing their part, what are you doing? As much as we demand them to do their part, you should also do something. So let's not demand as we sit back and say, oh, Namboze already has a broken back. She may not be able to do much, but Namboze could be able to talk. So how many people yesterday, when Segrinya was taking food, he was arrested, how many people joined Segrinya? How many people joined those who were taking the food? Or we were seated all waiting for, oh, let's see what is going to happen. So if you want Museveni to go, it is not about, it's not Bobi Wine's job. It is not any of those people you elected, their job. It is a collective job. It is going to take every Ugandan. For starters, you need, for you to shake Museveni, to give Museveni an impact, you need 1 million Ugandans out of the 45.
To come out.
1 million Ugandans.
Let's hear
you
from
have
this
more
other
than
caller.
1 million Ugandans from Kampala need to come out. Museveni will not stay in power.
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, please. Can you reduce the volume of your set and then speak to us?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, please. Tell us where you're calling from and your view.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, can you hear us? All right, I think you can't hear us there. We'll try to have a few calls. When a call comes through, you can just drop them in and then we hear what they're saying. Kapalaga. Ensonga ya people, who is going to inspire people, for example, to do what you're talking about? Because sometimes, I buy your idea, but there are people who want to see and, being inspired to say, let's go, let's move, let's do this, let's do that.
But it has happened already. The inspiration has happened already. What more do you need?
I know people are locked up in their communities. They are afraid. We all saw the ammunitions and
Let me ask you,
the
before
trucks.
Kapalaga chips in, when Bobi Wine was arrested in Luka, who started the riots in Kampala? Who started the demonstration? Do you know the people who started it? No one. It wasn't any politician. This is going to take something happening spontaneous, not planned. People, I don't even know where he started from. I don't know. Someone told me, do you know what is happening in Kampala? To check on social media, it was happening all over the place. So you cannot say, oh, this person is going to start it. This person, such uprisings fail. It is going to happen spontaneously. People are going to just wake up and say, we are done and we are ready for change.
Kapalaga.
First of all, when we said we are removing a dictator, we never said we are removing a democratic president.
What does that mean?
Going into an election did not mean that we know Biabakama is going to go on TV and say, okay, Robert Chagulanyi has 75% and Yoweri Museveni has 20%. No. But it was just a process of, you see, removing a dictator is a process. It is not a one-time event. So election was part of that process. And now, when we talk about, for example, people are writing to senators, people are tweeting. If you went to Twitter now, it's full of what is happening in Uganda. That is part of the process. What we did yesterday in New York, what Denmark is doing, what South Africa is doing, what Uganda is about to do is part of the process. Leaders have eyes on them. When Namboze sets out a foot, everyone is on the look, like from the government, and they know what she can do. That is why Sarah is telling you this is not going to take leaders, just like you saw. Every protest, it's not a leader to start it. It is basically the people, because these leaders, for God's sake, are even living a comfortable life.
Where they are.
If you wait for them...
Let's take one call and hear what they're saying. Hello. Hello. Where are you calling from, and what's your view?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My point is, I won't say my name. I just want to be anonymous.
It's okay.
Can you hear me properly?
Yes, please, go on.
Okay, my point is, first of all, we have to put Museveni under pressure by making sure that he doesn't get funding from any of his donors, for example, the European Union, UK, US, IMF, and all that. That way we can write to them to freeze all the funds that they were sending to Uganda, to make sure that the army doesn't get paid, all members of parliament don't get paid. So in that case, if they don't get paid, that means his government will run down. Another second issue I want to raise here is that people in Uganda must stop buying products that from the supermarkets. In fact, I would rather buy things from the streets, whereby I'm not paying any taxes to the government that fund the tyrants who kill Ugandans. That's another point. Another point about our principal Chagulanyi is that it's not going to be done by the 2-3 leaders or 64 leaders alone. Some of them have injuries. They've been through these campaigns. They've been beaten. They've been maimed. They've been harassed. So the best way is to mobilize Ugandans, no matter what, to hit the streets and make sure the dictator gets out. Another thing is that the principal should not accept any negotiations, because his rightful place has been denied, and he should fight for his rightful place, not like negotiate with the dictator to give him the vice presidency or that. No, we are not there. We're not going to buy that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I think you raised some very pertinent issues. You're still finalizing. You're still winding up your submission.
Yeah. Like during elections, you'll be reminded that the internet was switched off, and whatever you've seen ever since the internet was brought back, you can relate the clips and all that. Now, if you wait for a Namboze to command, she might be probably imprisoned in her home, just like Chagulanyi.
Yeah.
And what happens if all the 64 people are arrested in their houses? Because, you know, the government can decide to do that. So what do? This is a planned. You see, as you plan, as the people of Uganda, the government is not seated. I'll give you an example. It is not true that it is only Buganda which voted for Robert Chagulanyi.
Yeah.
And it is not true that only Buganda MPs, sitting MPs, like the NRM sitting MPs, were ousted. No. This was countrywide.
Massive.
But they just decided, because they've had a narrative that they've driven for long, that you see no peace for Central and all that, they just made sure whoever could go through in Arua, in the northern, in the eastern, in the western, They had to make sure they can contain that, to keep on driving their narrative. But to their surprise, even most of their people are conceding. If you saw Honorable Chambade, she said it. She said, people are tired of us. This is a message that should cut across
that was after
the
she
government.
lost.
Yes, that is very fine. That's very fine. At least she conceded. She sees, because she has been moving throughout. Ameria has a constituency in Impigi. It's kind of up country, kind of a setup that is village. Her constituency is much of a village setting. And this is where the NRM has always told us, you see, we are so much loved in the villages. And now she concedes that what actually she saw, she was third.
Not even second.
Not even second.
Let's first take this caller. Hello.
Hello?
Yep. Talk to us in a minute.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Talk to us, please. Reduce the volume of your set as well.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, please.
Hello?
We can hear you. Talk to us, please. We can hear you.
Yes. My views, what I wanted to say is,
Yes.
the people of Uganda are ready. And they may not be talking much like the people who are on the media, but everyone, wherever he is, they are ready and they are waiting for instructions. They are just waiting for somebody to lead them, to show them the way. It's just because of the leaders we have around, they have not come out to show the direction. Everybody is waiting to hear from Bobi Wine, which the man is already incarcerated at his home. But we need other leaders to come out and show Ugandans the way forward.
All right.
That is what we are.
Thank you so much.
And everyone is ready. Everyone is overpressed wherever they are. It's like a wound with mucus. It is just waiting to pierce it and come out.
All right.
And that one, even the state knows it. We need somebody to come out and tell us what to do. Because everybody is in pain wherever he is.
All right. Thank you so much.
And we are ready. The dictator should go, and he must go. He has no any other alternative.
Thank you so very much. I think there is a legitimate point when someone says they need leadership. I'll tell you one time when I was still covering journalism in Uganda, and I saw Kizza Besigye, I think that was, 2011? There's an election he lost that they said he had won, and he was put under house arrest for more than, I think, 15 or 20 days. I think it came to a month. And he came to a point where he said every MP that stood on FDC ticket, once they won the election, they went home. You know, they didn't rise up. For him, he was disappointed to see that none of them rose up in their communities, in their villages, to bring people on the board.
But let me.
That is in support to what the man said.
If Ugandans listen to what Bobi Wine said yesterday, what more do they want to hear?
Direction. The man has said they need direction.
The direction was given.
They need to see a visionary leader.
No.
Leading
the direction,
them
the man is under house arrest. The best he can use right now, he cannot lead from the front, but he has given you direction and said, we were rigged from this election. Don't accept President Museveni as the elected leader. Ugandans must rise up. What I want Ugandans to take out of their heads right now, I want Ugandans to stop thinking that there is always going to be someone on the front line. The front line could be you. Let's study. Let's do a study of all the uprisings that have happened. I think there's an uprising that started from a lady who was selling bread. What country was that? Tunisia?
Tunisia, I guess.
It
was in the middle. She was a campus girl.
Yes, selling bread. That's where the uprising started. She was selling bread and police wanted to arrest her. How did the uprising start in Sudan? How did it start? Was it the raising prices or stuff?
Yeah.
Look at all the other countries. It did not start from any of the leaders. It is going, because when I see Ugandans saying, oh, we need direction, direction in what? If you're tired of Museveni, what more? Everything has been spoken. Bobi Wine has said, we need to rise up. We went into an election of which they've rigged. Everyone has seen. So what more direction do you need as Ugandans? I think we should, as much as we want to hold our leaders accountable, we need what part are we doing? Because it's like you're asking Bobi Wine, we want you to get out of your house and lead us. That's not, it comes back to the same question. The riots that happened in Kampala when Bobi Wine was arrested in Alufenya, who started them? Name for me one leader who started those riots. Do you know who started them? Do you know who started them? It was the Ugandans. This is going to be, because and the way the society we are in and the hypocrisy, because someone was informing me the arrest of Haman in Lira was a setup. It was a setup. One person gave in, Haman. So that's the kind of people we live in. With the kind of hypocrisy and how people are so poor that if you try to organize something formally, one of you is going to betray you for some amount of money. This has to be spontaneous. It has to happen minus anyone knowing where it's coming from.
Someone says here they need a spark. People in Uganda are waiting for a spark.
The spark is Ugandans. What spark are you looking for? Because, okay, Bobi Wine is under house arrest. Isn't that enough spark?
And then they are saying you're forgetting the guns that Ugandans are going to be facing against.
Now this is what is going to happen. If Ugandans, I'll tell you one thing, just like I said earlier, you need 1 million Ugandans to hit the streets. For sure, maybe 100, maybe let's say 10,000 are going to be victims of whatever is going to happen. But they cannot kill 1 million Ugandans. They're not going to kill 1 million Ugandans. Because if what I want people to take away right now is to start holding leaders only accountable as if the problems they face, the same leaders face them. Yes, you elected them. Yes, you're talking of Senyonyi right now. What is Senyonyi doing? What are you doing before you point at Senyonyi? Senyonyi is one person. Senyonyi has been almost on crutches throughout the campaign because he has been on the front line. What are you doing? When Segirinya yesterday stood up to take eggs and whatever, how many Ugandans joined him?
Stella Nyanzi has a protest, I think.
Stella
Monday or Tuesday?
Stella Nyanzi has a protest. Let Ugandans join Stella Nyanzi. Let's not wait for Stella Nyanzi to be alone and be carried away, in a police van, and then we say, oh, Stella Nyanzi has been arrested. Until when Ugandans are ready, because even if Kyagulanyi rises up as an individual 100 times, until when Ugandans are ready to join Kyagulanyi, because Kyagulanyi has put his life on the line. I was telling someone the other day, Ashraf ended up with with a canister on his head. That canister we would have gone into, voting when Kyagulanyi is in the hospital.
In coma.
In coma. He has put his life on the line so many times. And I keep praying, I'm like, because of so many prayers from people, there is a way he has survived bullets on so many occasions. In Jinja, when his car was shot at, they were driving, and they were driving fast. That car could have overturned. Do you know how many people would have died in that car? There is a bullet that went. What happened to Dan Magic? Dan Magic right now lost his teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
that grenade would have hit Bobi Wine. It would be first shattered right now. So what spark are you looking for? Right now, Bobi Wine is under house arrest for almost a week. Zake is in coma right now. Just because he went to see Bobi Wine. What spark? You have enough sparks. Zake is in coma. He went to take food. What had Zake done? Zake is in coma right now.
Someone here says it is easier said, lady.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because you're not in Uganda.
That's what I'm saying right now.
Let's take one more caller, and then we'll get back. Thank you so much. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yep, please talk to us.
Yes, please. I would like to make my comment. I would like just to know what the advantage of to expose the dictatorship people when the world was.
Pardon? We can't hear you well. What was the question again? Hello?
Network is very bad, but I would like to know what the advantage of exposing the regime of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni when the world already knows what's going on in Uganda. And what will be the advantage of just to take them in court when the people are kidnapped and poisoned every day? For example, like Selector David has been killed. How do you gonna repay for those bloodshed when you are going to the court and are wasting the time? Why we don't ask the international community to be behind of Ugandans? Because if the Ugandans step in the street to demonstrate or protest, they are gonna be shooted. So would you like to comment about my question? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank
Can
you so
I
much.
respond to him?
Yeah, I want to give you also a chance to respond.
Let me respond to him,
and
and then he'll respond to him. Now, this is a message to Ugandans back home. The world doesn't know what is happening in Uganda until you bring it to their attention. For example, you're going to look at America and say, oh, America knows. America doesn't know what is happening in Uganda. They have their own issues. UK doesn't know. And one thing you must understand, the countries like UK and America don't believe in rumors. Don't think because they see what is happening on TV, then they know. You have to bring whatever is happening in your country to their attention by giving them evidence. When you're taking Museveni to ICC, you don't take Museveni by saying, you don't go to ICC and say, oh, you know what is happening in Uganda. No, you go with evidence. You go with videos of everything that has happened. You go with the videos of the likes of Dan Magic. You go with all the videos of what has happened to Bobi during the campaign. You go to with the videos of a minister of defense himself saying, we are going to crush you and kill you. You go with the videos of Museveni saying, we are going to crush you. You go with the videos of Museveni using child soldiers. You can imagine, after 35 years, how comes Museveni had never been indicted by ICC, yet he used child soldiers in his war to come to power? It's because no one has ever given that evidence to ICC. It's on video. So Ugandans, stop thinking these people know what is happening in your country. You have to stand up. And what we are so lucky that what is happening, what the rest didn't do, like the likes of Dr. Kizza Besigye and the rest who have been fighting Museveni, they did not take that evidence where it's supposed to go. Right now, President Museveni is under panic and his government because every video you see that is happening, every crime Museveni commits, you've seen in this short period Kyagulanyi has come to the political scene. You saw last year a number of officers were indicted. They cannot step in America right now. You saw some of the government officers who cannot step in America right now. It's because of evidence. I know some of your leaders in Kampala, the likes of Namboze, the likes of Zake, have come here to the United States to give physical evidence and to show, yes, my back was broken, even to show medical documents you can imagine, Zake, Namboze was beaten in Parliament. But even if you show those videos, it is not enough. Namboze had to come here to give a testimony.
Your suggestion is that Uganda should rise up.
Ugandans have to rise up, but at the same thing, one thing I want to tell Ugandans: stop assuming because stuff is happening in your place, the whole world knows what is happening. These people don't believe in rumors; they don't believe in hearsays. They need you to knock at the right doors with evidence. So stop assuming the world sees what is happening. So for things to happen, the evidence. What I'm going to say and what I can add on is that what is happening with this Kyagulanyi era. Evidence has been collected, and that's why you see what happened with when they arrested Opio. The other lawyer was working on some human rights case of what had happened, and they took away the laptop. So they are looking for these people because there is a lot of evidence that is being given. And if we continue the way we are operating, a lot of donations, that is, because we are looking at what the arm has done alone in this election, with all that evidence, America should be able to cut down or to stop the money he's giving to Uganda, because America is really one of their forefront things they fight is human rights abuse. And it so happens that they give America almost 90% of the budget of the Ugandan army is funded by America. So America, as much as you speak wherever you are and say, oh, you know, they are brutalizing the army and police, you need to bring evidence to the Secretary of State for him to understand that the monies you're giving to Uganda, this is what it does, with evidence. So, and I think Ugandans back home, again, it comes back, again, it's your responsibility to see human rights abuse happening and you record a video. Don't sit back and say, the world is watching it. They will still
have the chance to do. Kapalaga, I want to come to you concerning the diaspora, what Ugandans should be doing in diaspora. But I want also to respond to people who are saying about IMF and the likes. My only challenge with international bodies is that they only come on board when there is gross abuse of human rights. And by gross, I mean bloodshed and killing. They can see that. I saw that in Egypt. It's only unfortunate that they cannot come out. I mean, they will know. They know, for example, you had a protest last year before the elections. They know, the Mike Pompeos, they have an idea what's happening in Uganda.
But you haven't given them the evidence.
They are thinking that maybe it's not true. You know, it's not true.
Exactly.
We want, and my challenge is, you know, innocent blood, you know, it's going to be shed before that awareness is created. But let's first talk about the diaspora. Because people are saying here, you guys are talking in diaspora. It's easier for you to speak in diaspora because, you know, you have no one who's going to come and knock on your doors when you're here.
Serious?
But what is the role of a Ugandan in diaspora, you know, to make sure that, you know, the spark, someone spoke about the spark, but where should they start?
You see, before I talk about the role of the diaspora, I want to tell Ugandans that most of their leaders left a comfortable life to come into politics. Myself, I've never imagined myself in politics. And I'll tell you for a fact that the biggest number of NUP staff is on the run. Their phones are blocked. You can't access Louis Rubongoya today. His phone is blocked. Chagulanyi's phone is blocked. Babi's phone is blocked. I mean, all eyes are on them. So it is upon the people of Uganda now to decide what to do with themselves. Like Sarah said, in Egypt or in those areas where they've been protests. And before I talk about that, protests are actually legal. That is why we went to New York.
Not in Uganda.
In Uganda's constitution.
I mean, on paper, yes, but not in principle. I mean,
yeah, the constitution says if a person, if something is being done and you don't agree, it is your right to protest.
Bakolechi.
Nkugambi, it is your right to protest. Now, what can the diaspora do? First of all, the diaspora is doing whatever it can. I know it is risky, you know, being on front line. We've seen many people are being killed. We've seen several of our comrades are now nursing wounds, they're in coma and all that. Now, what the diaspora can do is, first of all, to get involved in such protests, because, I mean, these democratic countries allow protests like the one we had yesterday.
I saw you at the UN headquarters.
Yes,
right?
we were at the UN yesterday. And
Uganda
today,
House.
Even today, Uganda House, talk about the Uganda. I tell you what, sorry, I'm just going to be a little bit off topic, but I want to talk about the Uganda House. I went to the Uganda House. That was my first time to see the Uganda House. And then I wanted to read about what is the history behind the Uganda House. And guess what I found out? In 1977, Idi Amin Dada came here, built it. came here to the UN, and he thought, instead of having these, people from Uganda going to pay for hotels, very expensive hotels. New York is so expensive. He thought, why shouldn't I build a story building,
a Uganda house,
to house these people when they come here? Because we have convoys for working in the UN. He built a storied building higher than the US. That is 1977. Idi Amin Dada, the one who we've painted that picture, he was a dictator. Yes, he was, but he was patriotic at the same time. And then when a certain gentleman called Honorable, I'm forgetting the name, I wrote that on my Facebook though, came, and he was a convoy to the UN. I hear he found a lot of debts with the building, and he decided to rent it out. So he goes to Honorable Nabeta's building, which is in New Jersey, a different state. He stayed there and rented that building. Okay? He's renting Nabeta, he's renting out Uganda House. So now the government had to foot his transport costs. He was moving from a different state, coming to New York. And then he goes into a deal with Nabeta, so Nabeta could sell Uganda that building which he was living in New Jersey, at a cost of 3.5 billion shillings. That was around 2007, I think, or 2017 or 7. I can't remember. But there is that article that I read. It is in Daily Monitor. And so they went into a deal for Nabeta to sell this building at 3.5 billion, yet the neighboring buildings, which were actually better, costed 1 billion. And that is Uganda. Now, that is the Uganda House. That's the bit of Uganda House I wanted to talk about. Now, back to the diaspora. First of all, the Denmark has protested. UK has, Canada has, US has. Everyone is protesting against the robbing of the victory of Ugandans, against the suppression of the voice of Ugandans. That is an emulation that the people around here are giving back to the country, to the citizens in Uganda, that, hey, this is what we are doing. Secondly, the diaspora people are reaching out to their senators, their representatives. Why? Because, like a certain caller said, if we cut off aid to Uganda, not to Uganda, but to President Museveni, because these people cut deals with President Museveni as a person, because he's been to the throne for 35 years. They don't know who they are dealing with. It is us to show them who the actual person they are dealing with is. So when we write to the senators and tell them, look here, there is massive abuse of human rights in Uganda. There is massive killings going on. There is massive abduction of people. I will tell you for a fact, we have over 1,000 people in prisons across the country. And their only crime is supporting Robert Chagulanyi.
And you see, that comes down to what I said. They are writing to them. So Ugandans back home, stop assuming these senators know what is happening in Uganda. They may see it on TV. They may see, but they are so busy with their own issues happening in their own areas. They are, they are running. Right now, COVID has taken up all over America. So people are busy in their own constituencies. Now, you have to write. That's what he's saying. When you ask, I see a comment people saying, oh, what are you doing? Come back home. People are here. The Ugandans in the diaspora are engaging senators who decide which money comes to Uganda.
And I'll tell you, when President Museveni was fighting
as we wind up.
Yeah, as President Museveni was fighting in the bush, the Mama was never went to the bush. They were in the diaspora, doing what Sarah is doing what Haman is doing. I mean, there must be a certain group of people who are doing this work that we are doing now. And there must be a certain group of people who are in the bush. Okay, in the bush. I mean, this is not where we should be. Because at least a lot of people shed their blood to fight for what they thought was, how did he call it? The transformation?
No.
Museveni, when he was going to the bush.
He called it...
You wanted what, a fundamental change?
A fundamental change. But people shed blood. This is not where we should be. But unfortunately, this is where we are. And we must go back. I was watching a clip of 1980 elections. I wasn't here. No one of us here was. But I was watching a clip when the Byabakama of then announced that DP had actually won the elections. And the guy was abducted by Paul Muhanga. And Paul Muhanga got in charge of elections and he announced UPC being the leader. Now, it is UPC who rigged elections from DP. UPM, President Museveni had stood with Honorable Kutesa in his constituency. And the Honorable Kutesa won. So President Museveni didn't even win a single, a single position in the parliament. Now, President Museveni was so annoyed that UPC robbed DP when him of the UPM then was watching. He went to the bush. Today we are not going to the bush. We don't want our people to die. We are simply demanding our victory through rightful constitutional means. And these include elections, these include going to court, and these include peaceful demonstrations.
All right, thank you so much. As we're winding up, I just want all of you to take a minute and respond to this question that people have been throwing here so much. We have all agreed that we're not going to expect, you have all agreed that you're not going to expect MPs to lead or spearhead or to create the spark. If the incarceration of Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, house arrest continues, and we know there are how many are there? 64 others, the Nubian leads and who are, I don't know when they were supposed to come back to court. Was it 19th? 19th? It's already passed, is it? I think it was extended. I'm not sure. Yes. If it also extends, which is more likely, it's going to extend, because the idea is that they want, I have learned a lot from Kizza Bessigye's time, as a journalist, that the government's intention always was to make sure that people's pressures keep going down. Like 3 months after the election, people's attentions would have, changed. That's the idea. And then they will start to release all these people to come out. If this incarceration and arrests continue going on, of course, there's going to be fear among people. People are going to be afraid to come out and protest because they know what's going to happen tomorrow or next. The two pathways we've spoken about have been court or a peaceful protest. If all those are curtailed, finally, what is the other pathway that this can be overturned?
This is one thing you're going to ask yourself, and because as Museveni continues to amount pressure or thinking, the flares are going to calm down, people will calm down and go back to the normal. After 3 months. People are going to have to start to go to work because... go to work where? Are the problems of Uganda being sorted out? Right now, there is COVID in Uganda. And people are dying and being buried every day. So I wonder, when I saw Museveni, after all those people they paid to come on the road and he's doing his triumphant victory as if it was Jesus coming back to Nazareth, after paying those people. I wonder, I'm like, has COVID disappeared? All of a sudden, after elections, you see they want to open up. And that is in Central, where they banned campaigns. And because our leaders have ceased to use common sense. And I see all of a sudden they are bringing DJ Khaled, of which the team this side, we need to fight. This DJ Khaled should not end up in Uganda. They are wasting millions. Do you know how much money they are paying that guy?
For the,
Mama, there is COVID in Uganda. If they arrested the Nigerians, how is DJ Khaled going to survive being arrested? Why are they wasting taxpayers' money? Do you know how much money Uganda is spending? First of all, they bought Mama Awards at $3 million US. For what? Which tourism are you going to boost? What tourism do you have? What are you going to boost? Because we really, really waste money to things that don't bring back money. You're wasting. DJ Khaled he would have charged them maybe $1 million US. This guy, he's one of the top DJs in USA. You're wasting money bring DJ Khaled to Uganda in a place where you've just arrested Nigerians for bringing in COVID. So what is DJ Khaled going to do? We would rather stop him from going to Uganda and wasting our taxpayers' money, because this is taxpayers' money they're using. How could Uganda buy Mama Awards? And you see, those are the people you have in terms of ministers for tourism, Rwanda. You spend $3 million buying Mama Awards to come to Uganda in hopes of boosting tourism.
I mean, they're distracting. They are distracting you
from
the chaos.
Exactly. Right now, they released, DJ Khaled is coming to Uganda. They're going to, they just want to distract Ugandans. But the thing I want Ugandans to ask themselves, are the issues that have made Ugandans rise up, have they been solved? Are they going to be solved in the next 5 years? Or is the issue of joblessness going to go away? Is the corruption going to go away? Is the police brutality going to go away? Are the issues we've been talking about for the last 10 years going to go away? They are not. Museveni is not in any way, Museveni is not here to work for Ugandans. He has told you, and he has said it again, he's working for himself and his children and grandchildren.
Finally.
So it is going to take still Ugandans.
In a nutshell.
Ugandans, I do not know whether you want to first buy bread at 1 million shillings. What happened in Zimbabwe, when at some point they had to buy bread at 1 million shillings. I do not know that what it is going to take for Ugandans to say enough is enough, but it is again going to be the job and responsibility of Ugandans to wake up. If we become complacent and say, oh, Museveni always rigs, and then we go back to the normal and live our miserable lives, that is going to be the same. That is going to be, that's what is going to happen. But if Ugandans rise up and say, you know what, and let's be honest, Ugandans in the diaspora have outdone themselves. Ugandans in the diaspora have financed the campaigns from beginning, even before it started, to the end. And are they going to stop right now? So much needs money. Do you know how many Ugandans are in prisons? Do you know how much money? Every time we see someone come out of prison, man has been paid. Because they ask for, is that a bail or something? Yes, man has been paid. Where is that money coming from? You're going to say, if we were depending, if all this was on the Ugandans back home, we know they don't have money. So as you keep questioning the role of Ugandans in the diaspora, look at the campaign Honorable Kyagulanyi has run, and look at all your brothers and sisters that are coming out of jail, and look at so much that has to be done in Uganda, people who are in prisons, people who are in hospitals that need to be treated. All that money is coming from the diaspora, because people in the diaspora still have a chance to earn wherever they are. So are the fundraising drives going to end? Definitely not. Because just like Kapalaga said, this is a process. If elections cannot take out down President Museveni, we still have to continue until when the dictator goes. Bobi Wine was very clear yesterday. He said the dictator still has to go. But it is not going to take one day. President Museveni did not he did not take over Uganda by fighting for one day. He went to the bush in 1981. I think they started up everything in about 79, planning everything in the 1980. So it took him time, 5 years. It is going to take us time, and it's going to be all of us. People in the diaspora doing their part. They are making sure they are letting the senators, the people who sit on committees that decide, because money does not come to Uganda by mistake. These congressmen, senators sit and allocate. There is a budget to give to these African countries. All that money. You saw what happened around COVID. There's a budget that was passed to give, I think it was one of the USAID organizations, money that was supposed to give to the poor people in Uganda as COVID relief. That money was stopped. It was taken because no, it was taken back because Ugandans, the people, raised it to the people where the money came from, that this money is going to be
Not
stolen.
being allocated. So
This
they
money
took
is not
it
going
back.
to be stolen. It's going to be stolen by a few people. So they had to freeze that money, and the money went back. So there is a lot that has to be done that has not been done over and over a long period of time. So everyone do their part. When people are saying we are writing senators to congressmen, we are giving evidence to ICC, we are showing evidence to the Secretary of State. You saw the incoming Secretary of State for Biden tweeting about Uganda. It's because information has been put on his desk. Biden knows of what is happening in Uganda right now. Not because Biden has not been in government. It is because
He's
people
aware.
are knocking. No, he's only aware because people are knocking on
Because there are
Biden's door.
efforts being
There are
made
efforts being
every
made
day.
right now by people are knocking at Biden's door and say, yes, you're incoming, but you will know you're one of the people who leads by you respect human rights. This is what is happening in Uganda. I know the moment Biden was elected president, people are knocking. People have been going to Delaware before even going to Washington. So issues about Uganda are already. Ask yourself, why hasn't America congratulated Museveni on winning the election? Do you know why? They have now the information. Before, America used to...
Did the UN...
You saw the statement? The UN Watch put up a statement and said, and they clearly said, they say
congratulated Museveni
for rigging, abusing human rights, and incarcerating people. That's what they did. You saw the statement by the ambassador of the US. You saw how she was treated when she went to see Bobi Wine. Because America
How about the African Union? I haven't followed up with the African Union. I don't know what they have... I mean,
you saw again the statement by the EU. It also said they were never involved, they were never accredited. So if you don't expect for America to congratulate you if you treat the ambassador, because basically who is representing Biden in Uganda is Gordon Brown. She's Biden in Uganda. You mistreat her, don't expect anything from her. And all that works in our favor. Because definitely if they are going to ask anything about happening in Uganda, they are going to ring the ambassador to find out what is happening.
That's why someone was saying here that Ugandans should protest, they should protest at the embassies in Kampala because, you know, that's going to... But finally, let me have your views, your parting remarks, Mr. Kapalaga, concerning both diaspora and in Uganda in regards to what's going on and the work that you're still doing. You said you're going, on Monday, you're going on with the protests here in the USA?
No. I said, first of all, I want to thank the diasporians for whatever efforts that they've put towards funding the campaigns, towards tweeting, towards writing those letters, towards protesting. That's just an admiration to Ugandans that this is what we can do as people in the diaspora, because you will understand most of these people who are in the diaspora actually don't love being in the diaspora, because Uganda is the best country that you can ever be to, but because of the politics, people keep on running away, and you know it became a government policy for people to run away, and there is a lot of brain drain in Uganda, because I normally tell my friends that there is going to come a time when in Uganda there are only people who are illiterate and those who are in school, because everyone who graduates gets some 6 million, runs to the UAE, runs to Dubai, runs to wherever, and at the end of the day there is a lot of brain drain. Now, I urge you people in the diaspora to keep doing whatever you've been doing, because this is a process. And I urge you people in Uganda to stand out, bring out your voices. I know it will be suppressed. I know there is a lot going on, but as you stand out, more and more people's attention will get to Uganda, and they will know what you're doing, and they will stand with you. And to the government and President Museveni, I want you to remember that in 1981, these things that are happening and more of what is happening now is why you went to the bush and killed over 500,000 people in the disguise of bringing a fundamental change. People trusted you. Our grandparents trusted you. We were not born. Our mothers and fathers were so young. So you just told our grandparents that you're bringing a fundamental change. Most of them were killed. Most of our parents went to the bush so young. They are the Kadogos. They are today, if you find a Kadogo, they are down there in the villages. They don't even have anything to eat. President Museveni should remember, should sit back and think of what he was when he was 42 years. The people he went with to the bush were 26, 23, 24. Those were youths. They are today telling people to respect the old people. I hear you don't have respect. You don't. You see the ministers are old people. You need to respect them. But they need to remember that they went to the bush armed. Okay? And they were only 23, 25, 27, and they went to the bush. I don't know how old Mr. Honorable Tumwine was. You know?
Anyway.
But these are the people who fought, and together with our grandparents, to bring a fundamental change. Part of that fundamental change was to bring about a constitution, which constitution's preamble says that in regards, as we are reflecting to the history of this country, we are writing this document so we cannot go back to where Uganda was. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, how many years from 1995 until now, today? That's
35.
Around 25 years. 25 years later, the constitution is ripped. The patent, the very important articles are removed. Yet it is why President Museveni went to the bush. Museveni came out to the bush and he said on record that the problem of Africa and Uganda in particular is leaders who overstay in power. Apparently, of recent, he appended it with I hear who are not elected. But he was very clear. He was very clear. He was referring to Idi Amin, who had only spent 9 years in power. Museveni is 4 times today.
But Amin was elected. But again, to add on a little bit, for Museveni to say, oh, I've had also the amendment where he kept saying who are not democratically elected. But himself, he had to go back to the constitution to amend it, to give himself way. So basically, it's not any different from any other leader because he amended the constitution. Because if he had not amended the constitution, we wouldn't be having a problem with Museveni right now.
He now has a leeway to be president for life. But I want to thank you so much for all your contributions and for all those that called in today. Remember, the future of your country is on everyone's shoulders. As a Bible scholar, I always want to pray. And I believe that this is a time, for us to pray and believe God. But also, as you guys are saying, be more proactive in whatever you're doing. But also to pray for Bobi Wine, wherever he is in his home and his wife, for his mental health. And for his colleagues, and the others, there are over 64 who are still in jail, by the way. They have been in jail for the last 3 weeks, I think. They have families to feed. They have people to take care of.
Over planted charges. 45 of them, they claim they had a magazine. And I wonder what we are going to do with the magazine. And it is the police who showed them the magazine. Where the magazine
was. But just one word to
remember them
some
in
people
our prayers.
Who actually say, Bobi Wine asize abana babandi. They should be honest to themselves and go to that person who kills them. Stop. All Bobi Wine has done is speak the truth to power. And it is those with power who go on killing people. So they should speak to those people who are killing people, not speaking about this one who is speaking truth, as if you're saying, why are you now speaking the truth? They are killing people because you're speaking the truth, so you should stop preaching the gospel truth. So you should start being honest with yourselves and with your country.
All right, I'll end with this comment from someone said, we voted for Chagulanyi for a better Uganda and we want our victory back. That was Mbabazi Jolly. Namatovu Julie says, but Museveni said ballot paper cannot take him away. So if you say that you are fearing to die, I wonder, because every war people have to die. Bonabana Fiona said, we are an independent nation. America will only rule only those who are in their territory. Titus Wamala says Museveni entered by striving, and so he should be removed by striving, means striking. So get Museveni out of office by force. Stop bombarding his old... Okay, I'm going to end with this one. Actually, Bobi Wine won the election by 75%. Then Yoweri Museveni won by 20%. But what I don't understand is that how Museveni won the election when he got only 20%. So many comments coming in. Thank you so very much. And someone saying Stella Nyanzi tomorrow is going to be heading to Magere. So if you are in Uganda,
should join her.
She's going to be heading to Magere tomorrow.
I think it's
instead of Ugandans asking for the spark, join Stella Nyanzi, and that's the spark.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, your comments are so many. Tulumbe, Nakasero, Jasula, 1 million people. All right. Thank you so very much. But remember, as I've told you, I'm a Bible scholar. I believe a lot in prayer. I believe God has a good plan for Uganda. I believe God has a future for our country. And yeah, we should keep knocking on his door, as it says in Jeremiah 33:3, that call on me and I will answer. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, keep it here. If you missed the show, if you can share with your friend, go to YouTube, Campfire TV, to see what happened. And all of you who called in today, thank you very much and have a wonderful week ahead.